But I'd like us to dwell on the guidance element. That's what we have in the book of Genesis, chapter 26, the guidance element. The man that has guidance from God will float as if there is no storm. And if you don't have guidance from God, you are going to be a victim. Are you there? So these are the days where we need to seek guidance from God. There is no situation you find yourself in that there is no guidance that can come from God that can settle you in that situation. All of you know my story. How I was in the oil industry and I was doing well. We were well paid. You didn't need to take a bribe because your salary was okay. We were earning way more than ₦1 million under the circumstances of the old Nigeria, not this roller coaster system. And we're doing well. Young guys, we're doing well. We're experts, professionals in what we were doing. So then the Lord now says, resign. So I went to him. I knew it was him that was giving me guidance. So I asked him, you are aware that I have a multitude in my house. And when you asked me to resign, you didn't ask them to go. You didn't ask the multitude to go. So now, how do I continue being the support system that I am in their lives if I no longer have this my good job? Do you know that this inquiry did not take long? He answered me. If I tell you the answer now, you'll be weak because it's not intellectual. You know what he told me? He said, teach the Bible. Does that sound? I'm just trying to let you know how God works. His answers are not intellectual. His answers are rejoicing to the heart and not the head. They don't make sense, but they make life. I can tell you that. So God is asking me to leave my job. God is asking me to leave my sustenance and to focus on bringing his counsel to our generation and beyond. And he never told me how I will sustain my camp. When I pressed, he said, teach the Bible. How does teach the Bible relate with my financial condition? And you know, I told you in my relationship with God, anytime I ask a question that is out of range, he does not answer. It means that your question is foolish. I just understand. Because there was a time I was gisting with God, and I gisted with him for 3 hours. And the reason why I was able to keep him was that I was asking the right question, and he was answering me. And we were in that discussion for 3 hours. That's what the Bible calls a mouth-to-mouth discussion. So whenever, and you see, even if you write your questions down on a piece of paper, and he comes, you will forget that paper. That's if he wants you to forget, you will forget it. So you are not really in control. Are you there? Are you? He knows where to touch. There are some things he touches, some buttons. When he touches those buttons, those things you are saying, if he comes again, he will forget all of them. You are not. You forget. So I've been able to keep him for 3 hours. We were discussing like that for 3 hours. In fact, he will even allow me write what he's saying. I'll write it down. Then I say, okay. I'll say, wait. Let me get this one. He will wait. And for 3 hours, I exhausted all my questions, and he walked away. But if he comes like that to speak to me, and then I ask the wrong question, the discussion has ended. So he told me, teach what? The Bible. This teach the Bible matter that I'm telling you, he gave me this instruction in 2020. I had not resigned yet. Teach the Bible. I came home for a weekend to go back to work, and because of COVID, all the borders of the states were shut down. So I began to talk to my colleague on the other side. He sends me data. I work on the data, do everything, do the job, and then I send it. So I was able to continue doing my work from here. All right? Then, early in the morning, you know my friend from Lagos, Prophet Ayo, now calls me. Say, I saw you on the white horse, and as you were riding on that horse, you were proclaiming the kingdom. Guess what he now says in interpreting what the vision meant? He said, teach the Bible now. Hey, teach the Bible? It's okay. That was how we started that teaching that I did preach for 80 days. Those of you that were there. It was on the instruction of teach the Bible. Two things happened when I taught the Bible during those 80 days. Are you still with me? First thing that happened is, since the history of this ministry, there has never been a time, that is the history of this ministry up until that time. There has never been a time where people gave to this ministry like the 80 days. That 80 days of preaching was our breakthrough in terms of people sowing into the ministry. The flow was so consistent, and so the momentum, I don't know, what's the name? Give me a scientific word for this. Huh? You people want to confuse our audience now. You know what I'm talking about. The way the finances was flowing in on a daily basis, it was on the strength of that flow that we took off by faith and started laying this foundation. You know where we were now. The capacity of the building was 250 people. And then we now started building a hall that would take 4,500 people. Are we not crazy? We are crazy now. But it began to flow. This foundation you are standing on cost 55 million that time. Not now, that time. Because if you are saying that Indomie that used to be 250 is 500, if this foundation costs 55 million, what is the cost now? You got it right. That's the value. And I continue teaching, and the people were giving. I don't know what was going on. People were giving. And that was how the walls went up. So, and are you with me? Let me tell you my own little one. As they were giving to us as a ministry, they were also giving me in my account. 5,000 we enter, 20,000, 10,000. In fact, they give in one day. That's my own small one now. In 24 hours, they gave me my salary. So I said, oh, what was it? You are not following me. You are not following me. So God was trying to prove to me that the strategy he gave me, even though it doesn't sound intellectual, it will work. For there will be no cloud, there will be no wind, but the ditches shall be filled with water. It didn't sound intellectual. I got my salary in 24 hours. So I now understood that I could survive based on that strategy. It is because of that when you come for fellowship, I will never lack what to tell you. I will prepare in the night. I will wake up and go and pray to know the mind of God. Because as I am doing it, the other aspect too. So that is why the meltdown is not affecting me. Because I got my own guidance from God. And the thing about the guidance we get from God, it doesn't expire when it's 2025. Now I'm provoking you. See, I want you to, I want to come one day. And there are so many testimonies that will now abolish testimonies. I say, because if we start taking testimonies every day, we will not have time. Go back and receive guidance for your life. For me, he said what? Teach the Bible. So I became faithful in teaching the Bible. And then, in that 2002, it's on 2020. Is that not when we went to London? I think it's B that can tell me this. That's when I went to London. So when I went to London first was 2020 March. So I've been applying for the UK visa. You know my story. In fact, the one that they gave me, when they gave me, the passport was closed. I didn't believe that there was any visa inside. The reason why I didn't believe was because the application I did with all government backup letters and my pay slip and all the things they need, they denied me. So this one, I even made mistakes in the application. But they gave me that one. And a senior man of God that has preached here before registered his intention to invite me. So the moment I saw the visa in my passport, I snapped it. And I put it on his WhatsApp. You know how we use WhatsApp to shout? You put some people that are doing like this. It means we are shouting. So you put... That was how I got invited to London. And the church was so gracious, they put me on business class. That was the business class on British Airways. Oh my God. It was an experience. Then we got there and all of that. And I went to look for what to say in the place of prayer. It took me 12 hours. But I got a message from God. And what's the instruction? Teach the Bible. Do you know that that message was what opened Europe to me? By the time I came back from London, because I preached on Friday, I think I preached on Thursday, preached on Friday evening, preached on Saturday morning, Saturday evening, Sunday morning. All right? My flight was Sunday evening. Flight from London to Abuja was Sunday evening. It's a 10 p.m. flight. You just push your seat like this and you sleep. Then I was in Abuja. When we came out, I was convinced that I knew what God meant when he said, teach the Bible as a strategy for my sustenance and the inhabitants of my household. Ever since then, I've continued obeying that instruction. And I've seen miracles of how God can use nothing to sustain a man. In the eyes of God, as long as I can teach, I will not beg for bread. You also have a strategy for your own life. And as long as you do it, you will not beg for bread. Stay with him until you get it. The Lord is my shepherd. What will happen? I shall not want. When God begins to guide you, then poverty, it leaves you.
We believe that you are richly blessed by the message. Please subscribe, like, and don't forget to share with families and friends.